Hello, I am back from my Nietzschean walk. Yeah. I got a riddle from those beyond the veil. I am, you know, they say if I figure out this riddle, they're gonna, you know, allow me to start making money with my business. Well, not allow, but they're gonna guarantee me making money with my business this week. I don't know how much, but any amount of money would be pork, right? The riddle is, what is the lesson on money those beyond the veil are using as my blockstone to fortune? So of course, deeply personal, and I need to examine. Or it could be something simple and stupid and easy. It sometimes just is. Or the question is not the real question. They do a lot of mind fucks with these questions. Or it could be a very simple question, and that fucks with your mind the most, because you're so used to every question fucking with you. Regardless, I don't know when I'm going to answer that. But probably somewhere in this week. So now I want to eat and maybe watch something. I did see this video. So let's see this video.
According to LendingTree, 62% of Americans are eating less fast food, as menu prices have increased by roughly 60% over the last decade, with McDonald's alone doubling their prices. And with fast food prices far exceeding the rate of inflation, roughly 80% of Americans now view it as a luxury, raising the question, how did the cheapest meals in the country become just another way to fatten shareholders' pockets? While fast food was originally intended to be a quick and affordable alternative for the working class, with McDonald's famously celebrating that a family of 4 could be served in under a minute for less than $1. Decades of extreme consolidation have left many of today's largest chains charging roughly $40 to feed the average family, as the industry has fundamentally shifted away from serving customers and towards extracting as much profit as possible from each meal. One of the largest mechanisms behind this consolidation is franchising, as franchise chains now capture roughly 75% of fast food revenue, despite operating substantially fewer locations than mom-and-pop independents. The adoption of this model accelerated after McDonald's unprecedented expansion throughout the 50s and 60s demonstrated how every new location could generate rent, recurring royalties, and franchise fees, while shifting most of the cost and operating risk onto the franchisee, creating a financial model that nearly every established chain would eventually adopt, as it provided the scale needed to outspend competitors, dominate advertising, secure the most valuable real estate, demand enormous volumes of food at prices smaller operators could never negotiate, and offset declining sales in one market through revenue generated across thousands of global locations. Meaning that instead of local hamburger stands and sandwich shops competing for customers through lower prices and better value, more than 14,000 McDonald's, 7,000 Burger Kings, 6,000 Wendy's, and thousands of Subways, Jersey Mike's, and Jimmy John locations now shape what Americans expect to pay across entire categories of fast food. Today, among the 20 largest fast food chains in America, just 2 were founded within the last 50 years, with not a single one founded in the 21st century. And even across the nation's 500 largest restaurant chains, these same 10 dominant fast food brands account for roughly 44% of all sales. And after using their scale to essentially eliminate local competition, fast food chains have turned towards loyalty programs designed to disguise higher prices as a great deal. A 2025 analysis found that the top 20% of loyalty users generate roughly 55 to 70% of loyalty revenue, spending 2 to 3 times more than the average customer, as every purchase becomes one step closer towards a free reward. In Q1 of 2026, Starbucks announced that reward members generate nearly 60% of all US company-operated revenue, even though earning a free drink or breakfast item can require nearly $200 in purchases. Even McDonald's CEO has acknowledged that loyalty adoption increases both customer visits and spending, effectively proving that the value these chains now provide has essentially nothing to do with quick and affordable food, and everything to do with making customers pay more for the perception of it. And while these chains have somewhat effectively manufactured the illusion of affordability, their market control also allows them to sell substantially lower quality food. Before rampant consolidation, fast food chains relied far more heavily on regional produce, beef, and dairy suppliers, allowing them to compete through freshness and stronger relationships with the communities they served. Today, however, going out to eat is essentially just figuring out which chain can heat up Cisco food better. While the largest chains negotiate more directly with an already consolidated meat processing industry, most major fast food brands rely on Sysco, US Foods, or Performance Food Group, where yet again, despite thousands of independent distributors still existing, these three corporations alone control roughly 35% of the food service distribution market, while the fifth largest controls only around 1%. And because these distributors make more money by purchasing enormous volumes of standardized products that can be sold across thousands of locations, they gain immense influence over what chains pay and which ingredients become financially practical to serve at scale, often favoring products designed around consistent margins rather than freshness or regional quality, leaving much of the industry dependent on frozen, pre-portioned, and heavily processed products designed for longer shelf lives, requiring less labor to prepare, and tasting is somewhat the same across thousands of locations, ultimately leaving customers to pay record prices for little more than the chain's branding, while receiving the exact same nationally or even globally sourced mystery food engineered to feed the bottom line. And as if the industry were not already consolidated enough, private equity has spent decades absorbing many of the same legacy brands that franchising made nearly impossible to compete with. Roark Capital's restaurant portfolio now includes Subway, Carl's Jr., Hardee's, Culver's, and the parent companies behind Dunkin', Arby's, Sonic, Jimmy John's, Buffalo Wild Wings, Baskin-Robbins, Cinnabon, and several other major chains. And then Blackstone recently acquired a majority stake in Jersey Mike's through a deal reportedly valued at roughly $8 billion. Blackstone has openly described franchise businesses as attractive investments because of their scalability, low capital requirements, and steady cash flow growth, allowing private equity firms to acquire established chains, place much of the acquisition debt onto the business itself, and extract returns through fees, dividends, or an eventual sale, turning brands built over decades into financial assets where the strongest financial incentives no longer come from providing affordable food, but from raising fees, cutting labor, shrinking portions, and replacing ingredients to increase returns. Proving that at this point, deciding which fast food chain to eat at is really just which private equity portfolio you would like to feed. And while the industry continues brushing all of this under the rug by insisting that rising food costs and broader economic conditions are the sole reason behind increased menu prices, those pressures do not make charging higher prices, serving lower quality food, or extracting more from workers unavoidable parts of operating a successful fast food chain. To demonstrate that, I spoke with Kathy Terry, the co-founder of P. Terry's, an Austin-based hamburger chain now celebrating its 21st anniversary with 37 company-owned and operated locations and more than 1,800 employees, where she explains why so many independent chains eventually sell to private equity, and why P. Terry's instead chose to establish an employee ownership trust and profit-sharing model designed to always give back to the customers and workers responsible for its success.
The issue is there's a lot of people that start a business and then they take on investors, right? They take on venture capitalists. Well, venture capitalists want their money back, right? And so they'll infuse you with a lot of capital to expand. But there's a cost with that growth, right? Then all of a sudden you have to make choices that not necessarily you would have made before, right? And it really may affect your culture because you're making decisions to grow faster than you normally would, or your culture would allow you to grow, right? But you're having to grow because they're an investor, they're a partner now, right? And so they're kind of driving the train. And usually they want out in 5 to 7 years. So they want to expand and build it up and build this asset so they can sell it to the next person. And then you get private equity, and private equity, I'm sure I have a lot of friends that work in private equity, but, private equity, they really just want to take your asset and they want to just, dump a bunch of debt on it and they want out in 7 years, right? Like it's all about making money for their fund, making money for their investors, right? So I'm not sure they necessarily care about the culture, really. I mean, they'll say it and they might in their heart believe it, but they're also, I would question what the intention is. So an employee ownership trust is something fairly new. It came from the UK. They've done it a long time in the UK. It's fairly new in the US, but it's basically a trust that is set up for the benefit of the employees, but they don't really retain the shares. They don't hold the shares. It sits in a trust. But what it does, and the wonderful thing about it, is it protects the culture forever, for perpetuity. So basically it's a tool that allows Patrick and I to gift shares, but also share sales. Allow us to sell shares to the trust. So it allows us to get some equity out. But the actual document itself, the purpose of the trust is to make sure that we always sell high quality burgers at an affordable price, that we always take care of the employee, that we'll always have interest-free loans, profit sharing, that we will give back to the customer. And that protects it for perpetuity, right? And so when another CEO comes on, right, when Patrick retires and another CEO comes in, that stewardship committee goes to them and says, oh, no. You can't sell frozen French fries. You can't take away our profit sharing. You can't, you know what I mean? Like, so it protects the culture. So it's like a total win. But the thing that we really wanted to do was have a financial benefit for the employees. So that's why we added the profit sharing, because the profit sharing is what's the most exciting thing, especially for the employees. Like, the trusts are like, yeah, I kind of understand it, don't understand it, but I think they understand the profit sharing, or they really will understand it come, February when they start getting a check. Mm-hmm. So it allows us to, give, let the employees who built P-Terry's benefit from P-Terry's. And I'm hoping, especially when it's at 20%, it will be substantial. Yeah. I mean, it will, help, definitely buy a car. It'll help them put a down payment on a house. It'll help them put their kids through school. It will be substantial.
And while companies such as P-Terry's prove that a fast food business can support profit sharing, substantially higher wages, interest-free employee loans, Christmas bonuses, and even a birthday cake for every worker, all while serving locally sourced food at or below industry prices, many of the largest fast food chains continue blaming rising menu prices and declining quality on the workers asking for wages that keep up with the cost of living. Despite today's minimum wage worker earning nearly 50% less in inflation-adjusted wages than a minimum wage worker did in 1968, fast food giants such as McDonald's continue presenting wages as a leading driver of higher prices, even after raising menu prices by more than 100% over the last decade and spending roughly $2 billion on stock buybacks in 2025. Meanwhile, Starbucks blamed wage pressures for higher prices while awarding its CEO a compensation package worth roughly $96 million after only 4 months on the job. The company also provided him with private jet travel for both business and personal use, and paid for his housing in Seattle after he chose not to relocate from California, proving that the industry can always find billions of dollars for shareholders and executives, but somehow treat workers asking for enough to afford rent as the greatest threat to affordability.
When I first started, anybody that knew me, I was super, super shy. I wouldn't have tried anything new, I gained a lot of confidence working here. It was really nice to be able to grow within the company within these past 10 years. Just starting as a crew member and then becoming a shift lead and joining the training team and getting to train like 10 people at a time. It really helped me gain confidence, and just knowing that they would give me opportunities to grow like that as from 17 to now. It's just been truly a blessing. I'm really appreciative of everything that they've done.
And so what I hope that we're beginning to recognize is that maybe beyond job search platforms, the fast food industry is as greedy as it possibly gets. There is absolutely no reason why fast food companies cannot give us as affordable meals as possible, cannot pay their employees fair wages. There's absolutely no reason why we can't get the food in a relatively decent time. And more importantly, there's absolutely no reason why the food that we receive, even though it is more on the affordable side of things, isn't decent quality. I think that if you recognize the fact that your grandparent was able to receive a cheaper meal by people that were paid more in a far quicker time, and it was healthier, not the most healthy thing ever, but healthier than what it is that we're receiving now, I don't understand why not every single one of us isn't stopping, hasn't boycotted or hasn't stopped going to fast food. The stat says 62% of Americans are eating less fast food. Isn't stopped So that means that the majority of us are still going at least once or twice a week, probably more. And so, I personally do not eat fast food, other than P. Terry's. But I don't. I've only been to McDonald's maybe twice in my life. I will say, beyond thinking that sandwiches are like nutritionally kind of one of the, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't think that you're really getting any value out of a sandwich. I do kind of like Jersey Mike's. But when I found out that Jersey Mike's was being acquired by Blackstone, I said, I'm never going to eat there again. Ever. Ever. So something that I like, I'm saying it's not going to happen because I do not support Blackstone.
And he's not doing jack shit, my man.
I am not going to pay with my hard-earned dollar. I work very hard for my money. I'm not going to give you my hard-earned dollar and consume greed in return. And I think that it's really important that we understand that, one, we have so much more power than we may recognize, but also you work very hard for your money. And so something that I've mentioned in so many videos about so many different topics, but specifically about the fast food video I did over a year ago and then the restaurant video I did, was that we need to be doing consumer boycotts. Like, we need to be doing it for so many different things. But most importantly, we need to be doing this. Like, I do not see the incentive anymore in any regard, unless you're in like a fast food desert and you're starving, of why any of us are eating fast food. They cannot continue to keep getting away with this if we are buying food from them. It's as simple as that. Now, the unfortunate reality is the economy as a whole is quickly escalating further into this K-shaped economy, to where there will be a point where our consumer economy will only depend on the top 10% of Americans. And so when that point comes, then the majority of us consumers become economically irrelevant, and I don't know, I think it becomes harder for our dollar to really have a voting power. But that time hasn't happened yet. And so what we really have to be doing is we have to be thinking, what are ways that I can begin voting with my hard-earned dollar and getting as many people as I can together to do a consumer.
I don't know, man. Seems like he's bitching a lot. I mean, he's trying to do things. What am I doing? Right? What am I doing? I'm judging this man. What am I doing? Taking it as in. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna just throw this in the trash. And then put this in there. let's obsess over my look. I mean, I look like the dude from Dune that gets killed in like the second movie at the end when like Paul, you know, well, how did he kill? I don't know. I can't remember how he killed him. I look like a bold. I even shaved my ear, my there. I dyed it green, but like you couldn't see the green, right? I need to next time bleach my hair, or I should go to like a stylist or something. Yeah, bold is much easier though. Like literally, I mean it's also much more effort because I first need to cut it with the hair trimmer, or I don't know what it's called, here and here. I can also do here, but I forgot today. And then I go a separate actual shave it. I don't always shave. I just today was a special day. Found out that was Jesus, or not like the. They gave me proof, and I believe now, like fully. But yet there's a voice that says no. Could be them fucking with me. They do like doing that. Oh, insane man, insane lunatic. But it is kind of cool. And today was very fun. Like I enjoyed today. An old Nietzsche philosophy realization is also very nice. You know, I do kind of live like a philosopher. Except obviously I'm live streaming coding as well. But you know, all the other stuff. Like this MeyGod thing. Philosophy, my man. Philosophy. And I'm so happy because I love philosophy. I love wisdom. Piercing through the veils of illusion. You know? Me and my white void. In a white void. This is so stupid. They pacify you. To make you obedient to a thing. I can't find these. It's like you can take it out. Like a lot of good writing. The writing is pretty good. Just put it here, I guess. I don't know if this is. Oh, wait. Stop streaming.